Trump is the virus, but the GOP is the host. And, you know, we've spent years watching Trump attacking democratic institutions, inflame divisions, corrupting our public discourse. But just focusing on Trump, I think, is a huge mistake, because he couldn't be doing this if even a dozen Republicans in the House and Senate were to decide to stand up and oppose him. I mean, Lisa Murkowski came out yesterday in an interview and said, you know, the intimidation is a little challenging. These are my words, but I think I captured the essence of what she had to say. The clip is floating all over. You can find it. But this is something. First of all, we have apparently crossed the Rubicon. We have a legal, lawful U.S. resident who committed no crime, who has been, along with over 200 others, and apparently the vast majority of them, according to CBS, about 80% of them committed no crime whatsoever, who has been seized, I was going to say arrested, but really kidnapped. And arrest implies due process. It implies somebody's been read their rights. It implies that they have an opportunity to make bail. None of that was the case here. He and all these other 200 plus other people who are now in this El Salvadoran concentration camp, and by the way, that's what it is. The literal dictionary definition of a concentration camp is a prison not accountable to the rule of law, where habeas corpus and the rule of law don't exist. And that's exactly what you have in El Salvador. It is a concentration camp. And these people are there without any due process. That is what dictators do. Donald Trump has moved the United States from being a nation based on the rule of law into basically a dictatorship. I mean, this is what a dictatorship feels like. A court order is ignored, a life is uprooted, a senator is stonewalled. Chris Van Hollen went down and tried to talk to Mr. Garcia. Sorry, we won't even tell you where he is. And you have to realize that Trump is both the symptom and the disease. I mean, this has been going on in the GOP ever since Nixon. It really started in the backlash to Brown versus Board of Education in the 1950s, although that was relatively bipartisan. But then the John Birch Society and Fred Koch jumped in with big bucks in a big way with their Impeach Earl Warren signs all across the country. I remember them in Michigan. I remember driving up to Newego on the weekend from Lansing, and there's this giant Impeach Earl Warren sign along, as I recall, it was Highway 34. But, the John Birch Society was all over the place, and that is what the modern Republican Party has essentially become. So Trump didn't create this environment. He walked into it. He flipped the switch and he set it ablaze. He didn't poison the well. He already found it poisoned and drank deeply. I mean, what's particularly chilling is how methodical Trump's attacks on democracy have been. He spent years convincing Americans that elections here in this country are fraudulent. Why? It's a calculated attempt to destroy the one institution that makes democracy function, which is trust in the vote. When citizens no longer believe their ballots count, democracy dies. And that was the goal. The goal of these Republicans who have been selling this since the 1960s was to undermine faith in the system so completely that only Republicans and only Trump are seen as legitimate Americans, as legitimately elected political figures. Trump's authoritarian instincts were always on display. He loves Putin, he loves Orban, he loves MBS, he loves Kim Jong-un. He sends him love letters. He demands personal loyalty from government officials rather than loyalty to the Constitution. This is what dictators do. The January 6th insurrection wasn't an outlier. It was the inevitable outcome of years of lies and hate and the erosion of our democracy. And again, Trump didn't just like pull this out of his backside one day and create. This is the foundation for this was laid by Richard Nixon. It was amplified by Ronald Reagan. It was turned into the Patriot Act and Guantanamo by George W. Bush. Each one of these guys set precedents that created the foundation. Mitch McConnell denying Barack Obama 2 of his Supreme Court picks, and Trump instead getting to flip the court hard right with just a couple of absolute whack jobs, including an accused rapist. None of this would have been possible without the complicity of the GOP. They're not passive bystanders. They're eager enablers. I mean, these people who, like Marco Rubio, who once called Trump dangerous and unfit, are now competing with each other to see who can more aggressively bow down and kiss his ass. Why? Because they've traded principle for power. The party of family values says, oh yeah, covering up sex with a porn star in order to win the 2016 election, no problem. The party of fiscal responsibility gave us $36 trillion in our national debt with a series of insane tax cuts on billionaires and big corporations. The party of national security is now trashing NATO, excuse me, and sucking up to Putin and Orban and other right-wingers around the world. And at the core of all of this is the deliberate cultivation of cruelty as a political strategy. Tearing children away from their mothers at the southern border, that was intentional. It wasn't a failure, it was a feature. It was designed to cause pain. It was designed to deter. It was designed to send the message that unless you're white, America no longer has any interest in the poor, the tired, the huddled masses. And now we see it with his refusal to return Kilmar Garcia. He has turned science into a partisan enemy. He doesn't just lie, he declared war on the very idea of the truth. He says climate change is a hoax. He politicized a deadly epidemic. And the result, hundreds of thousands of unnecessary COVID deaths, and now we've got unnecessary measles deaths. And that's the point, to destroy our shared reality, because then you can more easily overthrow democracy. He didn't just inherit America's divisions, he weaponized them. He didn't unify urban and rural, rich and poor, black and white. He pitted them against each other for personal gain. Rage, like with Rupert Murdoch, rage is his currency. Fear is his strategy. When people are busy hating each other, he knows they won't notice who's robbing them blind. And of course, it's him and his billionaire buddies. Marjorie Taylor Greene, tasing, having her security people tase people who dare question her at a town hall. This is the new normal. This is the perfect reflection of Donald Trump.